My name's Finnlo. I am a year 3 events management student at College of Esports, and I'm also the producer for our broadcast and studio stuff. And I've just been to Korea. Way. The trip was pretty insane. I think all the stuff we've done will have a massive impact on my career, and just learning about the way they run their organizations, what their culture's like, the way fans participate in the crowd, for example, the way the players treat each other on stage, stuff like that is completely different to Europe, and learning about the way they run things, the way they manage, the way they do things in their esports culture is extremely useful to know. And then learning more about generally Asian cultures and Korean culture has been very, very fascinating as well. I think my personal highlight was meeting an old friend, a friend of mine. He's been coaching, he's called G1, he's been coaching my league team at London Legion for the last year, as well as helping me out with a different team I play on. And we got the chance, so me and Louis know him well because he's been coaching us on the team, and we got the chance to meet him in Seoul. And yeah, just hang out with him in person, and we went to Gen.g HQ and we watched the Gen.g EWC games, and just talking to him about the game, getting to know him more, getting to know him better, exchanging gifts, learning more about his life, and just hanging out with someone I've talked to online for so long and now met in person has been really, really fun. I think the most valuable thing I learned was seeing the different esports organizations. So we visited Gen.g, T1, FearX, for example, and seeing how they all function so differently, the way their business is set up, the way they earn their money, the audience they're targeting, the way their headquarters are set up, stuff like that is very, very interesting, because they clearly have different business goals in mind, but they all manage to strive in their own way, where the one aims more for results in their games, the other aims more towards facilitating boot camps, for example, welcoming other teams into their HQ, and yeah, more for their amateur scene as well, for example, or their second division team, stuff like that, and just seeing how different organizations can function in different ways and still thrive in esports is very interesting. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, that kind of comes back to the point I just made, where the way they run it differently, which is, again, very different to the way I'd imagine Fnatic or Guild or, I mean, gen.g here in London are run, and the way they treat each other in the esports scene there, it feels very different to here as well, where there's a lot of respect for what everyone's achieved. Yes, I'd say so. I came there with the goal of getting most out of it, and taking all the opportunities we were given by College of Esports and with Gen.g, and using them all properly. And then I also wanted to meet and expand my own network in Korea, so I already knew a couple people there, living in Seoul and working at, for example, the Esports Hall of Fame, who I now have met in person as well. And through my own connections, we met, for example, someone at the VCT who works behind the scenes there and who introduced us or gave us a little tip on where to talk to the casters from the global broadcast, stuff like that. And yeah, just generally taking everything and trying to get the most out of it, and expanding my own network as well as meeting people from my already existing network has been my main goal, and I've definitely achieved that. Yeah, that's, I mean, surreal, really. Like, Gen.g's HQ is really cool, and the way they built it up is fantastic, and the fact that you can just walk in and chat to any of the staff, ask about their experience, and that you're guided by Gen.g staff to work on your personal projects as well as our group projects, which, yeah, the things we've worked on, they were very impressed with what we've done, especially in a short period of time. And it sounds like the work we've done might actually come to fruition, and it will actually happen sometime soon, hopefully. And just generally being able to say, hey, I'm going to work at Gen.g and get out of bed and put on your suit and walk into Gen.g HQ to present to some of their top staff members has been really, really cool. So I study the International Business and Events Management course, and seeing the way their events are run in the Korean esports industry, going to VCT, going to LOL Park, CLCK, talking to members behind the scenes there and like learning about how their events are run, how their productions are run. And then as the business part of my study, like I mentioned before, it's fascinating to see how these esports orgs run their business and run their companies, and also seeing the stuff that we've learned applied to their businesses in different fields. So yeah, being able to see that what we learn in our lectures actually happens in the big esports orgs is really, really useful, because it shows that it's actually worth learning and that it's actually being applied in the industry itself. And yeah, for the Gen.g work experience, we're also working on an event, so learning how Gen.g run their events, what their mindset is behind it, the different programs they use to make it happen, and how that all comes into fruition has been really, really useful and definitely very applicable to my course as well.